Bai Ningbing brought her daughter. Go to participate in the parent-child competition with By Moonlight. That day, the system told me, as long as I do it in the most tragic way, died in front of their mother and daughter, you can leave this plane. Back to the real world. I said yes. When her daughter urged Bai Ningbing to go out, I managed to grab the promising piece of wood in Bai Ningbing in front of the audience below the stage. When kissing Q in Chi's face, I'm already standing on the rooftop above them. Bai Ningbing is afraid that I will be jealous after seeing the news. Call and explain to me. Fang Yuan Shergo is terminally ill. Why do you bother with someone who is dying? Be good, I will always be your woman. I replied to him indifferently, but I feel dirty. No, next second. I jumped off the mall above them, died in their family of 3. The moment Elle took a photo with the trophy, the mother and daughter are crazy. Mom, let's hurry up. And Lechin Xiechi should be in a hurry. Bai Ningbing plans to bring her daughter Ming Ming. When going out for a parent-child tour, I'm at home preparing for my funeral. I heard my daughter's expectant voice. My hand stopped. There is an indescribable anger in my heart. In the 7 years since Meng Ming was born, under the influence of white ice, she hardly talks to me well. She has always been regarded as the apple of my eye. To make it petty, you're going to bite me with your teeth and claws. Can be clear about love. He can consider the other party. At this moment, facing the urging of my daughter, Bai Ningbing did not go out immediately, meaning he leaned pointedly against the door, turned on the speaker, staring at me with interest. It looks like it's talking about Square. My daughter and I will stay. He always does. He is possessive and insecure, often in this way, to create a sense of crisis for me, and then enjoy it. I had an emotional breakdown to confirm my love for him, but he doesn't know. As early as he and his daughter agreed, when I want to be a real family member with Q in Xiechi for a day, I have already switched out the system. Take me out of this world. Therefore, in Q in Chi's deep voice, when it reaches my ears, was strangely indifferent. Continue packing. Just didn't expect. The past 10 years. In this house, what really belongs to me can't even fit a tiny cardboard box. Out of Bai Ningbing desire to control, he hardly allows me to buy anything, even what I usually wear when I go out. Also follow his arrangement. At the age of others' fresh clothes and angry horses, I can only step on slippers. Swaggering through the market in an old man's shirt. Only so, he feels at ease. Looking at the old lady in the mirror who doesn't match her age, and overworked countless gray hairs. It's like a stone in my heart. It's breathless, but am clearly under 30. Ningbing, did you go out with Meng Meng? Do you want me to pick you up? Listen to the concerned tone on the other end of the phone. Bai Ningbing was not in a hurry to respond. From start to finish, did H take their eyes off my face? At the same time, I also got it. Call from the cemetery agent. Said it had been successfully grabbed. The cemetery L-like. Thank you. Politely hung up the phone. He raised his head to meet Bai Ningbing dissatisfied gaze. He heard it. Look at me with mockery in your eyes. Fang Yuan, how can you use this kind of thing? To get angry with me? Will you be angry? How many times have I told you? T have always regarded Q and see he as my brother, if L were interested in him. And what's the matter with you? Then he took the call. Squeeze out a sentence in a fit of pique. Already grabbed the coat on the way. With daughter, I walked out of the house without looking back. So far, the housekeeper who has been watching the plane next to him. Then he smiled at me. Come on, sir. Are you really going to run away from home? Is there anything lines can help you with? He subconsciously skimmed the cardboard box at my feet. L almost forgot that Mr. has always been frugal. There's nothing to pack. Look at the mockery in his eyes. I subconsciously shook my hand. Just wanted to say something. A cold electronic sound. It suddenly rang in my ears. Host, today is the day you were supposed to leave. You've already missed an opportunity. Now, I want to go back to the original world. It must be done in the most tragic way. Died in front of this mother and daughter. The most tragic I know. When saying this, I was also taken aback by my own indifference. I have always cherished my life, but now when it comes to truly facing death, Liu Saint feel liberated like never before. I subconsciously look at the cardboard box at my feet. Get up! Carry all the clothes inside to the yard. It's all burned, but was shouted sir by the housekeeper who was chasing after him. What are you doing? This green plant, but we specially planted it for Mr. Joe. Look at him angry. I just noticed. Just accidentally burned it in the yard. A few leaves of a potted plant. Then I looked at the evergreen. There would have been. And it's filled with my carefully pruned boxwood trees. I didn't expect it to be just a clear and casual sentence. I don't think it's as good looking as evergreen. The housekeeper sent someone privately, uprooted my boxwood tree, gleefully planted a large field of evergreen. How ridiculous! As the man of the house, actually reduced to, even the servants have to give me a face. That's right, after all, even Mother Wong can. When Bing brought Q and Chie back for dinner. To me, ready to order. A thoughtful reminder, Mum. Mr. Joe has a cold recently. No spicy food. On the other hand, white ice. Not only did I not think he was stupid, still in a good mood. Gave him a month's paid time off. After he came back from vacation, he also offered to double his salary. Just want to see. I looked jealous of him. PV had enough. This bottomless temptation. I came back to my senses, expressionless. I looked at the housekeeper who was still angry with me. Let me tell you about by Ninjibing's itinerary for today. Maybe I didn't expect it. I will take the initiative to ask. By Ninjibing's schedule, the butler standing in front of me was stunned. Then he opened his mouth with sarcasm. Sir, this is not your place to ask. I was stunned, like a fire burning. I pointed to my trembling fingertips. Cold face, have you figured it out? Who is the head of this house? I not only have the right to ask, I'll also have the right to let you go at any time. The voice just fell. His smile froze on his face. That's why you told me reluctantly. By Ninjibing's itinerary. Result, just a second before L was about to leave the house, he secretly told Bai Ningbing. Subsequently, I received a call from Bai Ningbing. What? I can't help but find me. There was something pleasant about him. Shirgo is terminally ill. Why bother with a dying man? Be good, I will always be your woman. But I don't want it anymore. I replied to him indifferently. Bai Ningbing on the other end of the phone was stunned. Therefore, I repeated it to him word by word. I said I don't want you anymore. Who knew that? Bai Ningbing suddenly jumped into a rage. Shut up, Fang Yuan. Is it me and my daughter who don't want to celebrate your birthday with you? You asked for it. Think about Ming Ming. Don't say such angry words in the future. After saying that, he hung up the phone in a panic. Menji Meng, L can't help but think of what happened yesterday. L couldn't help laughing at myself. Yesterday afternoon, I got a call from the kindergarten. Said that her daughter Ming Ming unfortunately fell into the water. Life and death unknown. So I was overwhelmed and I rushed to the scene. Saw the police doing salvage work. I instinctively jumped in. River. While shouting at Ming Ming. While searching for her trace. I choked several mouthfuls of water in a row. Was forcibly brought back to shore by the police. They accompanied me to check the surrounding surveillance. But I didn't find Ming Ming's figure. Finally left to me. Only the shoes he left by the river. But won't give up. We searched along the river all night. It rained heavily at night. The rolling thunder swallowed up my voice. I can only step on the guardrail. Calling my daughter's name over and over again, but accidentally fell off the embankment. Fell all over. When all is lost, I got a call from Deepening Bing. Tone, but it is far colder than the river water on your body. Can't even protect my daughter. You don't deserve to be a father. Not even worthy to be my husband, until lost it. I walked home like a soul, but heard my daughter's laughter at the door. Ha ha ha, Dad must be in a hurry now. Deserved. Who told him to dare to talk back to his mother? He also yelled at Uncle Q and C. Teach him a lesson this time. Let's see if he still dares in the future. At this moment, seemed to feel there is something in my heart. Suddenly broken. The brain goes blank for a while. Through the French windows, look at the mother and daughter who were still fighting on the sofa, sitting alone on the steps, lighting cigarette after cigarette, until I held the shriveled cigarette case. Walk in the door. I ignored my daughter's bad words towards me. Deepening Bing ran over to coax me. Confirm with me over and over again. In my eyes, is she more serious than her daughter? See, I shouldn't. There was a hint of panic in her eyes, but still forced a calm smile at me. Wipe the rain off my face. Be honest now. Tomorrow is your birthday. My daughter and I will spend time with you. However, this morning, he was scared by Meng Meng yesterday again. It takes a while to ease our father-son relationship. With what just happened? Seeing, he wanted me to prove it to him. He is more serious than his daughter. But he doesn't know. As early as last night, I had already decided I don't want either of them. Think of this time. And I paused. He asked the system casually, "Can you sing the birthday song?" But got a negative reply from the system. No, I can only sing Tibetan songs. That's unnecessary. I forced a smile. Save it for me when I die. The one that saw Q and Chi share successfully won the first place in parent-child activities. After the moments, I stopped a taxi, went to them all where the event was being held. I thought if L could die in their family of 3, the moment I took a photo with the trophy, it should be tragic. Just didn't expect. I just got to them all. I received to one after another. We chat from Deepening Ding. That's a photo of Timen's watches. Before L can react, Bayan and G Being's phone call came in. Compared to just now, the tone eased a bit. I remember the last time you went shopping with me. You've been staring at these 2 watches for a long time. It just so happens that this mall also sells it. Wait until the event is over. I'll buy it for you. If this were to happen in normal times, I'm sure to be happy. I couldn't sleep for days. But now I just feel sick. Fluttering back a sentence of no need. Deepening Bing was completely annoyed by my attitude. Feng Yuan, why are you so ignorant? You're forcing me. And he did that in front of the audience. He kissed Q and Chi in the face. Then he looked at the tube one by one under the stage. I know he has learned from the housekeeper. Al came to them all. He's waiting for me to show up. Waiting for me to hit the stage. Out of control. Ask him loudly why he is doing this. However, just as he was about to glance at me, I'm just casual. Walking towards the rooftop of them all. Host, do you really want to do this? Don't stay and try hard. It's too late to regret now. Standing on the rooftop of the mall, looking at the gorgeous scenery in the sky, my heart actually sprang up. Die at such a time? That seems like a pretty good idea. He shook his head with a relaxed look. No, just when I got up the courage. When stepping on the edge of the roof too. The phone received a message from Q and CHE. To tell you the truth, my medical records, it was forged at the hospital in his name. You guess. Does Ning Bing know that my illness is fake? Look at his sarcasm. I can't afford the slightest wave in my heart. It's just boring. Angry. Q and C he turned around and sent me a photo. It's a photo of their family of 3. On podium. My wife and daughter are surrounding Q and C he. One person kiss his cheek. And here I am. 3 groups of people for our little home. Send a message. Remember, I don't want you to dirty goods. Then I spent all my points. Let the system block it for me. Pain, let your body go. Falling off the rooftop. On the way down. 10 years have passed like a marquee. Flash before my eyes. I see it. I have been struggling with white ice for 3 years. It made his impression of me change. L also saw when we first got together. He took my arm with confidence. Say I'm white. This life is all about you. I also saw Meng Meng bud when it snowed. He can't even walk steadily. Call me dad one by one. Pity. Even these few beautiful moments. I don't feel nostalgia either. And finally, holding the trophy high in their family of 3. A moment for a group photo. Image by Ningbing's case. She has good-looking eyes. I'm laughing right now, but it caught my eye for a moment. Exposed some doubts. And then surprise, then panic. More complex emotions are also revealed. Come out just as he is splitting. When you want to push away the host in front of you, Jay also hit the ground hard, accompanied by screams. Fell into nothingness. When L opened my eyes, my soul is already floating in the air. See with your own eyes the body that is still alive. Emergency personnel rushed into the emergency room. It was only then that L recognized the hospital L was in. It is the place where Bai Ningbing works. Show me the inspection report. A familiar voice came not far away. He turned around and saw Bai Ningbing frowning. I don't know who I'm calling. Until the nurse placed a stack of reports. She hung up the unanswered phone. Send a voice message. Where are you now? I have an important surgery to do right now. I will accompany you on your birthday when L go back tonight. And that's when L realized it. It turns out that Bai Ningbing is calling me. However, I have no chance to pick it up again. Idol early gave her a chance more than once. L also once confessed to my crossing. I told her if she dared to reply to me, I could disappear at any moment. But she just. It's my way of being jealous. After a few minutes, change into white Kurdice in a surgical gown, appeared outside the operating room door. He looked incredibly nervous. It took a while. This opened the door of the operating room. Then when he caught a glimpse of the scar that hurt his abdomen, exposed a panic like never before. I subconsciously glanced at the scar. Can't help but remember. When I first got together with Bai Ningbing, the past. The white ice at that time. Or just an intern, but experienced a very serious medical trouble. The family of the deceased will be held responsible for ineffective rescue. It's all his fault. As an inexperienced person, he shouldn't be in the operating room as a deputy. Eventually even a knife. Fortunately, I was rushed to visit the cast. I blocked it in time. Afterwards, Bai Ningbing said was a full. Red eye scraped the bridge of my nose. Stupid like you. What can I do without it? After saying that, he covered his face and cried bitterly. Mouth over and over again. Are you stupid? What would I do without you? Think of this time. I frowned, barely squeezed out a smile. What are you going to do now? Too bad he can't hear me anymore. See him refusing to move. The assistant on the side couldn't help but call him. Professor Bai Ningbing came back to his senses. He shook his head in relief and smiled. Feng Yuan is still angry with me outside. Could it be him? Then he took the scalpel handed by the assistant, but Elle still dug out the phone with lingering fears. Wait until you feel better tomorrow. We will take Meng Meng to Jeju Island. Haven't you always wanted to go outside to relax? Ask for leave to accompany you. Listen, the assistant on the side looked more and more ugly. Reminded by Ningbing, Professor Bai. It's about saving lives. Until then, only then did Bai Ningbing restrain her smile. He said with a serious expression, ready to start. Surgery, situation, then white frozen expected. Even worse, the surgery lasted for hours. This body is still hanging by a thread. This makes Ba Jiao's who has always been strategizing. L also sweated. Hemostatic forceps don't know. This is what he found. After the first few bleeding spots, Bai Ningbing reached out to catch it again, hand-handed hemostatic forceps. But when skimming towards the patient's wrist, stopped the hole in my hand. A thin layer of sweat appeared on his forehead. L curiously followed his gaze. I saw the birthmark on my waist. This was him on countless nights. The one that has been touched over and over again on me. After a brief pause, he sets his sights on to the covering of the victim's face. Stop breathing. Slowly pulled the cover cloth down. Suddenly, his eyes widened, shaking like a sieve. How come? Fang Yuan, how could it be you? That's not possible. He reached out to take my face, the abdominal cavity of the body. But at this moment, there was a sudden hemorrhage. The assistant EXC aimed. Bai Ningbing is even more messy. Panicked. Like a 7-year-old. Want to reach out and plug the break in my internal organs. But blood gushed out of his fingers. Hemostatic forceps. What about hemostatic forceps? Give me hemostat. However, the hemostat is now in his hand. He frantically stitched to stop the bleeding. Reach out and touch my cheek. Even the voice is trembling. Fang Yuan, it's all right. I can definitely save you. Just pity. Haven't waited for him to finish speaking. The heartbeat detector sent out for a while. There's no end to it. Hurry up and get the pacemaker ready. The assistant on the side did not move. After a moment, he opened his mouth. The patient has low blood pressure. There is no possibility of survivor. Farti, Bai Ningbing angry UN open, pointing at the door of the operating room and growling, "Get out of here." And then I went into the rescue work alone. It will be fine. Ultimately, this is known as the golden hand. The medical genius. Exhausted. Can't save his husband. He slumped down in the chair. The whole person feels like he has been emptied. Just watch me quietly all night. The next morning, the NL took my body to the funeral home. When QNC arrived with Meng Men Ji Wenshun, he's holding my hand. Touch me again and again, whispering in my ear. Does it hurt? The DL arity covers the blinded eyes. And he went and he sighed. Me too. Just wanted to share the joy with him. He's a big man. Why can't you think about it so much? After hearing him say this, I was stunned. He looked at me with a complicated expression. Eyes finally closed eyes. Shaking his head. No wonder Jay usually neglect Fang Yuan's emotions. As his wife. Even when did he suffer from depression? I don't know. He can't think of it so much. He slapped himself hard. I was dumbfounded. It turns out that he still doesn't believe it until now. After listening, he felt distressed on the ground. He touched Bai Ningbing's head. Don't be too sad, and I'm with you and Meng Meng. Life goes on. One has to look forward. As soon as this sentence comes out, Meng Meng is also sensible. Wipe the tears from the corners of her eyes. Mom doesn't cry. Bai Ningbing nodded. He looked at QNC with relief. The NL remembered to ask, what is the result of this review? When Fang Yuan's funeral is over, I will accompany you to go abroad for treatment. Foreign countries have made breakthroughs in related fields. I believe it will cure your disease. A hint of panic flashed in QNC's eyes. Again and again, no need. The doctor said my condition has improved. I don't know. Is it because you are in a good mood recently? Bai Ningbing frowned, but he nodded in relief after a moment. Due to the adjustment of mindset. Precedent for improvement, not without. And that's a good thing. Later, you have to be happy every day. QNC smiled and nodded, looking at Meng Meng on the side. Said happily, with you and Meng Meng by my side, I have no reason to be unhappy. That day, Bai Ningbing cremated my body. They selected the most exclusive local cemetery for me. It's by the tombstone. Planted a circle of my favorite daisies. Result: that night, he brought Q and C he into my house, cooking in the kitchen while the ice is white. Meng Meng, who was just watching cartoons, he fell headfirst into Q and Che's arms. Winking stars. Uncle Q and Chi. When can you be mine? Dad heard Q and Chi laugh out loud. Stretch out a finger. Pushed Meng Meng's head. You child, your dad just passed away. Uncle should respect him. I don't. Meng blushed. Run to the kitchen. He pulled Bai Ning Bing in front of Chen Xie. Steadily put the white frozen hand. Put it in Q and Chi's palm. I want Uncle Q and Xie to be my father. What did the child say? The tips of the ears are acid as blood. Who knew the voice just fell? The doorbell rang. Peered outside the door. A middle-aged man in a suit. See white eyes. And he reached out apologetically. The family of the deceased. I came today. I want to discuss compensation with you. After all, the deceased stumbled and died. It's our mall. Primary responsibility for improper maintenance. I can't help but be stunned. Al obviously jumped off the building on my own initiative. How could it be judged to have stumbled and died? See me puzzled. The system opened its mouth. Under normal circumstances, the host actively leaves the world. Once discovered by the Lord God, will be obliterated. Saul used my permission, tampered with this node where you jumped off the building, make him look like an accident. So I sort of nodded my head and thanked him. Thank you, you're welcome. Can I walk through this time with you? It's my pleasure. Have a nice flight. Finish. He vanished from my consciousness. He stumbled and Bai Ning Bing froze in place. He looked at the man unknowingly. His expression also became serious. What do you mean? Difficult or not? Don't wait for him to finish speaking. The man opened his mouth in confusion. You don't know this yet. Didn't the police contact you? It shouldn't be, the police said. It was the brother of the deceased who answered the phone. Specific situation. You go and contact the brother of the deceased. Brother, Bai and Ing Bing subconsciously looked at Q and Chi. Q and he looked helpless. He walked forward and patted Bai Ning Bing's shoulder. I'm afraid you'll be too sad. I didn't dare to tell you. Bai Ning Bing's fingertips trembled. He frowned and sighed. You should tell this. After saying that, he grabbed the coat on the side. I walked out of the house without looking back. The compensation is put aside in advance. Take me to see the surveillance of your mall. Monitoring room. Bai Ning Bing stared at me. The moment you are about to fall. He reached out his hand. No, but I'm still going through the broken guardrail. Fell. He was shaking all over. Like a deflated ball. Fall to the ground. At the same time. Staff on site. He also looked at the man helplessly. Boss, I'll have to replay it again. The man finished listening. He went forward and pulled Bai Ning Bing up. A word of comfort, don't look at it again. There's nothing you can do to change it. I hope you have condolences. My condolences. Bai Ning Bing gritted his teeth. Slapped the man hard. The man didn't dodge. It took a solid hit. Blood oozing from the corners of the mouth. If it makes you feel more comfortable, just do it. I will never hide. Meet the man's determined gaze. Bai Ning Bing pressed down his hand. With tears in my eyes, pointed to the staff on the side. Keep playing. After countless loops, only then did Bai Ning Bing notice. I seemed to be in contact with someone. Too bad when he found my phone. The phone has already been broken. You can't even do that. He found a cell phone repair shop. Swept away $10,000. Just leave a sentence to bother you. Fix this phone anyway. And then he never looked back. When El got home, Q and Xie is coaxing Meng Meng to sleep in the living room. See Bai Ning Bing appear. Immediately made a promotion gesture. Be Guye, Meng Meng just fell asleep. Don't disturb him. Maybe. I was touched by this heartwarming scene. A word between Bai Ning Bing's eyebrows. It's all gone. It made my heart feel sour. In his heart, it goes without saying which is more important. Wait until when Bai Ningbing looked at Q and He again. Q and Siechi was already curled up on the sofa. Falling asleep, he steps forward, stared at the scene in front of him for a while. Only then did he chuckle and scrape the bridge of Q in Chess' nose, ready to wake him up and take him to the bedroom. But he was just about to leave. Q and She's phone lit up. It was a call from his attending doctor. Hesitate for a moment. Bai Ningbing answered the phone for him. Yus listened to a clear female voice. On the other end of the phone, Mr. Zhou, this painful return call. I want to ask you, how is the recent pancreatic cyst? As your attending physician, still want to remind you, regular visits to the hospital for pancreatic cysts. Bai Ningbing frowned, and L breathed a sigh of relief. It's not pancreatic cancer? The other party was stunned after listening. Only then did he smile with hindsight. How could it be breast cancer? Are you Mr. Zhu's lover? Please tell Mr. Zhou. Don't worry, don't scare yourself. You've come to the hospital for regular checkups. It's gonna be okay. Wait until Bai Ningbing wants to ask something. It's going blind on the other end. I was also stunned. It's not a terminal illness. I can't blame him for looking like he's covered in shit. Endless effort. Run to my house if you have nothing to do. What's up? Q and Siechi rubbed his sleepy eyes. He looked at the ugly white ice. Meet his gaze. Bai Ningbing smiled and shook her head. Go to sleep. Bai Ningbing seemed to be pretending to be sick in Q and C. I also want to be with him. Gained great satisfaction. Turned around and deleted the call log. He leaned on Q and Chi's hooder. Watching Q and Siechi sleep peacefully. Pamper smile full. Are you guilty of kidnapping me with this kind of thing? Made me worrying for nothing. At this moment, my heart finally died. Turned and hid on the balcony. The next night, Bai Ningbing brought Q and Siechi and Meng Meng. Went to the beach. Fireworks for hours. Just when Q and he was still surprised. What day is it today? Is AW Bai Ningbing kneeling on one knee? It's like conjuring. The ring emerged from behind. The excited Q and he burst into tears on the spot, wiping away tears. He hurriedly stretched out his hand to mix white and frozen ice. Get up, this kind of person. How can you get a woman to start? I don't know if I haven't waited for him to finish speaking. Bai Ningbing hurriedly interrupted him. Looking at the happy Meng Meng. Can actually wait. Yus, look at this damn girl. It can wait. Saying that, Bai Ningbing took out the diamond ring. I was about to bring it to Q and Siechi. The phone rang suddenly. Bai and Ningbing impatiently dug J out the phone. But when I saw the remarks from the repair shop, collected smiles. Listening to each other. After the phone has been repaired, Whitehead glanced at Q and Siechi. Seeing this, Q and he paid for it and it took effect. Although a little unwilling, but still said go. Don't delay business. Meng Menji and I are waiting for you at the beach. Ningbing got the repaired phone R. Tried the password several times. I failed to try to open the lock screen. He is everyone's birthday. And all kinds of anniversaries. But I didn't go. It was the day we first got together. Finally, he asked the maintenance master to break the password by force. But when I see the chat history, stunned in place. He saw the message Q and Siechi sent me. I also saw that photo. Or feel. That was the last straw that crushed me. He is whole. They were shaking uncontrollably. Walk out of the repair shop, staring blankly at the sky. A light flashed in his eyes. Immediately after, a tear fell from his eye. I don't know how long it has been. That's when he came to his senses, holding up the phone and about to throw him in the pond. The line of sight is attracted by the lit lock screen wallpaper. That is a photo of Bai Ningbing and I when we first got together. I had just graduated. Bai Ningbing haven't found a suitable hospital job either. The two of us. So poor that I can barely pay the rent. Sol went outside to set up a stall. Tired all day. Took this photo. The smile is sweeter than ever. As the screen goes out. By Ninjibin. After all, I still can't throw the phone out, but held tightly in his arms. Burst into tears. When he walks back to the beach, the eye sockets are still moist. See him coming. He stepped forward with a smile. A hand that held the white ice, but was vigorously pushed away by him. One didn't stand still. Fell to the ground. Frozen, what are you doing? He stared at Bai Ningbing in disbelief, but Bai Ningbing ignored it. Just questioned him with red eyes and tail. Why would you do that? What's unclear? Qin scratched his head, but firmly. He was slapped by Bai Ningbing. Why are you bullying Fang Yuan? Why pretend to be sick? If it weren't for you, how could Fang Yuan die? He gritted his teeth. A loud roar. It makes me want to laugh. Obviously last night, still feeling secretly happy about Qin pretending to be sick. Today, the blame will be placed on Qin. Let me know the dregs of white Kurdi ice. There's a whole new layer of understanding. Meng sees this, but suddenly stepped forward to protect Qin behind him. Like a calf, screaming at Bai Ningbing. Don't bully Qin. Uncle, go away. Bai Ningbing kicked Meng. What do you usually do to your dad? You think I don't know? He is your father. How could you do this to him? The voice just fell. Bai Ningbing seemed to think of something. He reached out and grabbed Qin's phone. Scared, Qin grabbed by an Ninjibing's arm. What are you doing? Are you crazy? But even so, he couldn't stop. Lower white ice. White frozen ice pressed his finger. Forcibly unlocked the phone. I saw his Meng chat history. Meng, didn't your father say he was a transmigrator? Then let's see if your daddy's. Okay, tonight, you take his vitamin pills. Switch to sleeping pills. But what if he really dies? If he dies, ask Meng to be your father. I went to the ground curiously to see. I can't help but feel a chill in my heart. So it wasn't an accident, since I accidentally took sleeping pills. By an Ninjibing's attitude towards me, there was a transformation. I think I'll want to blackmail him with death. Even if I'll explain again and again, neither did he. My eyes are full of blood and ask me, is it possible that a 7-year-old child? Can you lie? Not to mention, these tricks you eat won't kill you. Not pretending. What else could it be? I froze in place, unable to say a word, and I wanted to know, what is it? Can make a 7-year-old child, not just lying. I still want to kill my own father. It turned out that these were all from Qin. Seeing the white frozen face. It gets uglier. He pulled on his skirt in a panic. Frozen, can you listen to my explanation? It's really not what you think. I beg you. I just love you too much. Didn't you say you love me too? Let the past go. If it weren't for the stumbling block, we've been together for a long time. Right, but Bai Ningbing was furious. Kicked him hard to the life. Who allowed you to mention Fang Yuan? Until Qin rolled his eyes. I just got up and got ready to leave. I'll see you in court. Leave without looking back. Meng chased after her while crying. Mom, wait for me. You don't want. I was drunk by the sound of white ice. Back off, don't follow me. Without a daughter like you, you dare to take another step forward. I'll break your leg. Meng was so scared that her voice was hoarse from crying. Didn't dare to take a step forward. Finally, Bai Ningbing still took Qin to court. Combined with the hospitalization diagnosis of the statement of the attending physician, the court held that Qin suspected of inciting a minor to attempt murder, sentenced to 3 years in prison. A second before being taken out of the courtroom by the bailiff, Qin knelt in front of Bai Ningbing, claiming to know they were wrong. I hope Bai Ningbing can give him one. Opportunity for reform. But Bai Ningbing turned a deaf ear, kicked him away expressionlessly, walked out of the courthouse. When Elle got home, Meng Meng is sitting at the door wiping tears, carried by Bai Ningbing's neck, brought to my portrait, locked in the bedroom. Let me Ng Meng knock on the door. He doesn't care. You're in there apologizing to your dad. When will your father forgive you? When will Elle let you out? Otherwise, you will kneel to death in front of your father for me. The same day, Bai Ningbing took sleeping pills in the living room. The dose is the same as mine. Can't survive. Beg for death. For the past 3 days, he just regained consciousness, ran to the bathroom and threw up in the dark. At the same time, I finally waited. A chance to return to reality, staring at the halo that appeared out of thin air in front of me. I felt a sense of joy like never before. Elle can finally leave. This world makes me sick. However, justice took a step forward. An unbelievable voice came from behind. Fang Yuan turned around. He met Bai Ningbing's stunned gaze. Great, you're still alive. There was an excited smile on his face. But very quickly, he noticed my translucent body. The smile froze on his face. After seeing the halo in front of me, even more terrified in his eyes, advised him to reach out subconsciously. Don't go, stay with me, okay? It was my fault before. I shouldn't have believed you. Fang Yuan, I'll really love you. Give me a chance to start over. Okay, say. He grabbed the fruit knife on the coffee table, swiped to my wrist. Even so, he still doesn't think it's enough. I don't know how many knives I cut one after another. Then he raised his head and smiled at me. Fang Yuan, can Elle accompany you? The hardships you suffered in the past, it's all still on me. Watch her go crazy. I feel more and more that my choice is the right one. You only make me think you are scary. I helplessly hooked the corner of my lips. And disgusting. After listening, Bai and Ningbing immediately panicked, rummaged through the medicine cabinet. Then I don't. Elle can change anything you don't like. Don't leave me, okay? She rummaged through the bandages. He smiled and looked up at me. But I have already stepped into that field of light, looking at the nothingness in front of me. Bai Ningbing collapsed. Then he flipped out of the balcony like a madman. But he didn't die. I used the last bit of points. Saved him again. It's just that the points are not enough to cure him. He was thrown paralyzed. The only thing that can move. All that's left is the eyeball. Waiting for him. It will be a lifetime of regret and loneliness. As the halo gradually enveloped me, I opened my eyes like a dream. I went back to the day I fell down the stairs. Broke into my sight. It's my mother spear flower with rain. This moment, I finally threw myself into his arms. I burst into tears. I was so scared that my mom turned me over and transferred me over. Look, what's wrong? Why are you crying like this? Did it hurt? Let mom see. It's okay, I sniffed, wiping away tears. Laughed heartlessly at my mom. Just miss you. My mom was stunned when she heard that. Then frowned. Said it's okay. My head felt silly. Mom will take you to the hospital. In the end, I was still killed by my mother. Forcibly twisted to the hospital. Fortunately, it's really okay. Soft tissue contusion. Just rest for a few days. On the way back, my mom bought me a bunch of meat dishes. He also said he would make me bone soup. 100 days of broken bones. I have to make up for my son well. Okay. I smiled and snuggled up in his arms. Evening sunset. Also wink my eyes at this moment. I'm looking out the window. The breeze blows on my cheek. 10 years apart. I'm back to this day again. Ordinary though. It also makes me want to sigh that it's so good. Even if life is ordinary. Also the best result.